We acknowledge and respect the first humans of the unceded land we call San Francisco, the Ramaytush Ohlone. We condemn the genocide of these and other tribes across the Western Hemisphere. We honor their legacy and history, and we support rematriation and sovereignty efforts. Hello, and welcome to Storied San Francisco, a podcast all about the people and places that make this city unique. I'm Jeff Hunt, and I'll be your host. This is part 2 of our episode on 826 Valencia. We sit back down with 826 Director of Volunteer Engagement Kavitha and Pirate Supply Store Manager Byron Weiss. The conversation covers topics like the nonprofit's situation vis-a-vis San Francisco public schools, its expansion over the years, the various and variously themed stores that go with each location, and their vision for the future. Here's part 2 of my chat with Kavitha and Byron.
One hope that I have is, like, for volunteers who come here and work with us, is that then they see firsthand, like, man, these students need money. Like, these teachers need money. And so then hopefully, because I've found living here since 2007, like, that continually during voting blocks, like, it just feels like we continually don't vote for, like support for people experiencing homelessness or, like, a lot of these educational things. Even though, like, the people in my communities all really want it. And I always wonder about, like you spoke to, the transplant, the constant migration in and out. And I wonder about, like, how do we engage the people who are planting roots here? And, like, how do we get them in our communities and get them invested in what we're doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's something I think about a lot with the generation that I've come with, because a lot of folks decide to start families and leave. So we've seen that in our 10 years of made new friends who had babies here, and they've all left San Francisco, almost all of them, actually.
There's recent data around that, too.
It's more common than its opposite.
Yeah, I think so.
Than people staying with kids. Yeah, for sure.
And it drops off, like, around, like, it's definitely around the schooling age. That's when a lot of parents make that decision, I think.
Yeah, I feel like every time I have a friend who their kid eventually does get into SF public schools, I'm like, to my friend, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited.
Like, shouldn't be I get it. I'm not judging the folks. I also don't have children, so I cannot judge them. But I'm like, are you here or are you not? And it's, you know, I don't know.
Well,
so can we talk about quickly expansion? So there is 826 Valencia, and it is now, it's the name of the org, am I right?
Of the Oregon SF, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but it's not only at this location.
Correct.
What happened and why those spots?
Well, I think, I've been on staff full time, but I was made full time during the expansion of the Tenderloin. So I wasn't in as much of the planning stuff, but from my understanding, the Tenderloin was our first expansion in 2016. Thank you. We were looking at a couple places. I think Hunter's Point was another spot we were looking at. And we actually, like, I think at first, from my memory, it was, we were like, like you said, are there families in Tenderloin? I don't know. And actually, it turns out there were, like, just a ton of families.
It's the highest concentration of children in any given SF neighborhood.
I believe that.
I remember 3,000
the densest
plus,
neighborhood in general, I believe.
Yeah.
Densest populated, I should say.
Yeah. And has the least amount of what you're talking about with, like, sidewalks being, it's like, it feels like a freeway over there. It's crazy. Every street does. And it's still today. But so, like, there was just a really high need. And there was there are a lot of services there, like, for students, for families. So it was an opportunity for us to really hone in on our work versus, like Mission Center, we do this, like, after school tutoring. Kids come in, they do homework, and then they do writing afterwards. At Tenderloin, we don't need to do the after school tutoring because other programs, Boys and Girls Club does that, and then they can bring us. They already had access to the students, so they bring the students to us. So we really got to create it's a much more collaborative process than this center at Mission Center.
And I think the location, just finding the location, was collaborative with the city. Like, they wanted to change what was happening in that particular corner. And it used to be a market.
It used to be a big boy liquors, and it was infamous as like a spot for some drug dealing, and you know, like there's various stories I've heard from this is from people who came in when we first opened that store. We actually opened that center, and then it like right before the summer started, so the store opened in the summer, and it was like just me and my boss at the time, Caroline, basically there, just one of us or both of us the entire summer.
Oh my gosh.
Just talking to people, meeting, and we would get neighborhood member after neighborhood member like coming in, and just like some people like literally like tearing up, like being like, wow, this is such a beautiful space compared to what used to be here, telling us you know, intense tales of like seeing like stashed weapons in the freezer, and now it's like this wonderful like space that's open to the public that kids can come into, people can come into, and just have a fun time. And
so there is a pirate supply store
it's
there?
Not a pirate store. So each of our stores have different themes.
Let's dig into it.
The Tenderloin Center isn't currently opened, and I can't give any official.
Or the store is not.
The store isn't. We are still doing all of our
Right in the
programming
center
super
is.
open in that way.
Okay.
The store itself in the pandemic closed. We just haven't gotten on reopening it. And I don't have like an official date. I wish I did, but hopefully soon. And that's King Carl's Emporium. This is going to be really inside baseball, so
Let's
just
do it.
bear
Yeah,
with me.
You gotta go back.
If you have been to the Pirate Supply Store, listener, you may know about the Fish Theater. If you don't, the rest of what I'm about to say is going to be pretty useless. But there's a Fish Theater at the Pirate Supply Store, which is comprised of a bunch of aquatic actors, we'll call them. And King Carl is a pufferfish who also happens to be a thespian and the founder of the Fish Theater.
Okay.
Anyway, he retired, air quotes for audio members, and then traveled the world. He tried out for the Chicago Bulls or the New York Knicks. He visited Big Ben.
We'll get clarification on which team.
Yeah, I'll check. There's a sign in the store. And then he came back to SF. He missed his home. He missed his crew. And he decided to open up a shop in the Tenderloin called King Carl's Emporium. So that store has lots of trinkets that he found from around the world, also like supplies that he learned from his travels and also from his time at the Pirate Supply Store. So like spy glasses and compasses and things you might need while you're traveling. And so that's the long walk of the theme of the Tenderloin store.
Okay.
And then our Mission Bay location, which we can get into more later, but is a Woodland Creature Outfitters, and that's an enchanted forest supply shop. So like we have supplies for dwellers of the forest, be they animal, magical, a rock, or a human too.
Only dwellers, not... Does the Enchanted Forest take visitors?
Yeah, we take visitors. We're a store.
Okay.
We have stuff for them, but what we're like, I like to think of it as like a hub for the Enchanted Forest liver. Like our
Your
focus.
last stop before Enchanted Forest.
Or our like safe haven in the middle of this urban world. Like we still got, we got your trees, we got your moss,
Right.
your acorns if you're a squirrel and you lost yours, that kind of stuff.
Well, can we talk about that place? Because that is one of, or the kind of newest... I did a minor air quote because it might be true.
I think
parts
it is
of San Francisco. It like feels very polished and new.
Super new.
What was the decision behind 826 opening up there?
So I feel like I'm talking a lot. I apologize.
No, you're not. I mean, you have the lore.
I
think the Tenderloin, like rewinding to just the Tenderloin opening, the student involvement in what that center would look like and have was really important and special. So a student designed this like tree house. So our Tenderloin Center has this fun explorative tree house element to it. You can climb to the top and like overlook the whole center.
That's cool.
I think that rooted the conversation to the woodland creatures.
A little bit,
Like brought the forest theme into play. So that's the segue I wanted to make.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's great.
To the next part.
We love segues.
I think the mission. So the Tenderloin was like we were planning. We like our board, our leaders at the time wanted to expand, wanted to do more, and wanted to find more students outside of the mission. And so the Tenderloin, that was like a planned thing, but the Mission Bay was actually something from my memory that was like kind of approached to us. And honestly around a similar time. Like we were about to open the TL, and then I remember the Mission Bay store being brought up. And it was from TNDC, which I don't...
Tenderloin Neighborhood Development Corporation.
Thank you.
Our
That's
partners
them.
in the TL.
And they did a lot of development in the Tenderloin, and they also have done a lot of the development over in Mission Bay.
Okay.
So the building that we are currently in at Mission Bay is an all affordable unit housing building.
Wow.
And
How many units?
I don't remember how many units, but I do know that 50 of the units are actually specifically for people who were formerly homeless. So
Amazing.
and that's just 50 of those, and then all the units are affordable.
The high end ones are affordable.
Yes, and
It's a beautiful building.
I know.
Yeah.
Mission Bay in general has been I think their vision the whole time was like, how can we make like an all income community? How can we
Amazing.
make space for everyone? And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Jury's out. It's still a new place.
And
but it's-
supposedly 30% are below
yeah,
income
that's what they
families
say.
and folks.
Okay.
I think
And that's the building that y'all are on, like maybe the street level of?
Yeah,
or?
we're in the lobby of that building. Or
Okay.
the lobby. We're in the street level of that building. Fourth and China Basin is the corner we're on.
Okay.
But yeah, we didn't seek that out at all. It was really, they approached us and they're like, we're trying to make this thing. We want to have some kind of student focused programming, and you guys also have the benefit of having a really fun retail spaces, which are also, like as you said, Mission Bay is really new and anyone who lives there, I hope I'm not offending you, like it hasn't found its like soul yet. It's still
Yeah.
searching, it feels like.
Yeah.
And so like us having this weird space was like a really easy fit, and the programming, it just kind of made everything work. So I don't remember the details, but they basically made us an offer to
Invited
support
us,
us in a way
yeah.
that like we couldn't say no to it. It was
Yeah.
like too good of an opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, one
yeah.
big thing to note is there is no other student service type place in Mission Bay.
In that area, right.
Now there might be a couple associated with those low market rate housing complexes. They might have community room based programs, but what still baffles my mind is like the students we work with who live in this building that we are in, there's no school,
Yeah.
right? Mission Bay still is waiting to get an elementary school.
Yeah.
So you're on this peninsula that's already a challenge to commute to within the muni system. It's getting better, but like Byron said, like it hasn't found something yet, and that's because people are still like, how do I move here and be bring my family and like figure out what to do next, because all the schools are really sparse, so they you have to commute to go to school.
And
so
the pandemic didn't help too. It was like really starting to gain some traction, and then the pandemic hit, and all these tech companies downtown, all these people living downtown in those places like kind of migrated, and it was very dead.
Yeah. But it did open before the pandemic?
Yeah, we opened the year
2019.
before.
Oh.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
the year before.
We
It was like we were starting to get going. I feel like we're hitting our groove. Like Chase Center's opening them up. It was getting,
yeah, we
and
did
then,
not do a full school year. We did maybe
That is
first
the
semester.
826 Valencia version of my wife and I got engaged in 2019.
Oh.
I did say wife, so we eventually
Yes,
got
you
married.
got-
But it was a whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember 2019
Yeah.
fondly.
My wife, my then girlfriend, and I had a whole trip planned to France that first week of the
Like,
pandemic.
booked
It was like
and
literally,
everything.
it was like we were like ready, and for me, and we're not planners, so like this was like, so we like got these tickets like 6 months in advance. We did everything right. We like had all, and then we couldn't go. So we did get to go eventually. So it's
Good.
fine. But yeah,
Good. So, but the place is still there.
still there, still
And
doing all the programming.
Still doing the programming.
And that store is opened again now full time.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's just the Tenderloin that it hasn't opened up. There really isn't much foot traffic for retail there, and my team is like a half the size it was back then. So
in Mission Bay. Foot traffic.
Yeah,
Or
oh no,
TL?
Tenderloin. Sorry, in the
okay.
Tenderloin, there is foot traffic. There's people there, but there's just not like
That kind
I
of-
am a store. Like I know, Surprise the Pirate Store doesn't make a ton of money, but we are trying to sell things, and so just my team has been focusing on getting the Pirate Store going the last couple of years, and Mission Bay too, and so Tenderloin's next.
It's so cute. It's a great place to buy birthday gifts, I would say, especially if you're going over to Spark Social for a kid's birthday. As a
Yes.
parent, I know there's a lot of birthdays there. But plug for Spark Social, because they are hosting us all of April, every Sunday in April,
except for the second.
except for the first, except for
First.
that first week. There's a lot of Sundays in April, so
Right.
the remaining 4 Sundays in April, we will be there. 826 Valencia is going to be there, hanging out, doing poetry, celebrating Poetry Month, letting folks know that we need more volunteers. We definitely need tutors at the Mission Bay Center. We know there's people living in all those buildings, and we want to engage them in the neighborhood, get to know the community that you're actually a part of. And
Are you doing workshops or anything for kids that out there, or do you know?
On the Sundays, maybe not, because staffing might be a little complicated, but you'll come to our table and make something fun with us.
Awesome.
And our store will be open down the
Those will
street.
be- yeah, and the
you'll be
store
able
will
to
just
come
have lots.
hang out with us. We'll try to do
Nice.
fun stuff there too.
Nice.
Yeah.
What I love about all the stores is they encourage exploration, encourage touching the objects that we have. The Pirate Store was founded on that, like open all the drawers when you walk in and see what's in there. And then that sparks a child's imagination, and they're supposed to like barter, right?
You can barter for treasure in our sandpit if you find treasure in it and you're under 14. And also you can only take 1 treasure a day. Don't get greedy.
we had to put rules.
That's a good lesson.
Yeah, there's a mopping. I'm not going to say any more. Come to the Pirate Store and ask at the front
find
desk,
out.
and you'll find out.
It's just to keep the place clean.
Yeah, mainly. Yeah, there's a lot of
Sure.
dust in that store. Sometimes there's like intentional dust, and then there's like dust that my team isn't cleaning up.
Oh, I was gonna call it fun dust.
Fun
but
dust. Well, that's better too.
Maybe not.
That's nicer too.
But I love how the stores. I mean, we've been talking about the stores now for the last 10 or 15 minutes, but like the store here started out, if I'm correct, as a necessity of doing something here. But now they've kind of taken on a life of their own.
Yeah, they're a very
much.
I always say it's very serendipitous that we happen to need that, because I think it really provides like a student gets to go to a library to study, or they get to go to a pirate store to study. Like that's one of those is way more fun. And they really offer a third space for the students to really kind of like unwind if they need to, drop stuff off mentally, emotionally, like before they enter our programs. So I think it just offers, and like it just makes the whole building seem kind of more fun, you know. You get to and like tutor, like all of our staff bios have like pirate stuff in them, our staff pics, so like it's just a fun space, and it's something that we have brought to all of our chapters around the country. There's, I want to say 9 now, 9 maybe, I think 9.
Right, so
Great thing I did not know.
Oh, see, yeah, there's
talk
so
about
much. So there's I'm gonna say 9.
Let's do the
If there's
test.
another one, whatever. But you want me to try and name them all? This is I've listened to enough podcasts. This is a bad idea, but I'm gonna try.
No notes. I will,
LA,
for the record. Okay,
yeah, no
LA.
notes. LA, SF. This is not in order because we're first. LA, SF, New York, Chicago, Michigan. There's 2 in Michigan, Detroit, and Ann Arbor. New Orleans.
Yes. That one's got to be fun.
It's the ghost
So
haunting supplies. They sell supplies for ghosts. My favorite product they have is they have like costumes for ghosts, and it'll just like a hanger that says like, you know, like pirate costume, and it's just and it's so good.
I mean,
Where else? Boston, DC. I don't know. I'm not counting anymore.
I think you're at like 7 or 8 now.
Yeah, and then the last one, the most recent one is Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a mid-Atlantic ocean shop.
that's
sorry.
the only one, the theme I didn't know.
In
The
Minneapolis?
theme is- yeah, it's in Minneapolis. They're pretty new. Yeah,
Okay.
and then they're always trying to do more.
I'm down 100%.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
You'll
We
notice
have,
the pirate stores in the most landlocked part of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And the Woodland Creature Outfitters is the one closest
Close
to
to the
the
bay.
ocean. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The
It's all been thought about.
Minneapolis store is
Totally.
like I think the lore is that there's like a secret ocean underground
Yeah.
or something.
Okay.
I don't remember it. I haven't been there yet. And
There
I
was a
apologize
lake.
if you work there.
Yeah,
there was a
Lake
lake.
Dolores.
There's a lake. Yeah, I don't know where it comes from.
I'm reaching now.
Anyway,
for
yeah.
y'all.
Yeah,
Thank
I've
you.
loved going to. I've seen the LA one. It's the Time Travel Mart.
Yeah, they all have different
And
themes.
then in Brooklyn is the superhero supply store,
Yeah.
the Robot Factory,
and they're all
Detroit.
Yeah, Robot Factory. I don't know. DC's the Magic Supply Shop. They used to be the Unnatural History Museum, but that was
Unnatural.
people couldn't figure it out.
Where in,
So
you said Brooklyn?
yeah,
Is the
Park
New
Slope.
York- Park Slope, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We might have some listeners out there. I have friends out there.
It's a very cool space. They have a cape trying station. You can try
That's the
on a cape.
superhero one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
Courage in a jar, things like that.
Yeah.
What
Secret identities.
unifies all of them is we sell our students publications.
Yes.
There's books. Like, it did work out, this whole need to be retail thing, 'cause-
Mm-hmm.
and we started publishing many books a year. We're up to about 33. Last year was 33 publications.
Amazing.
So
came
many.
out.
You publish them yourselves? There's a.
We have a design team in-house that works with volunteer designers. That is something you need skills for. So if you want to volunteer with us, we do always looking for designers.
But there's like an imprint or label that's 826 or
Yeah, we send them
yeah.
to book publishers,
Yeah.
I guess, but
Binders.
we prep it all. I think
And
we
they
do
are,
all
yeah.
the editing
And we're in certain bookstores too. Like bookstores can find us and sell our stuff if they want. In the city, we definitely are featured in a couple bookstores. I don't remember which ones.
Cool.
Yeah, and then each program kind of gets their own book. So like our Buena Vista Horace Mann program
I love
gets a
theirs.
book.
Oh
Our
my gosh.
Tenderloin Center, our Mission Center.
That title.
Yeah.
We together are everything.
And these are always pulled from student work. So like this is in a book.
The kids are all right.
Yeah,
The kids-
they're doing great.
It's a theme in my life lately, and it's bearing out right
It's
here
true.
in front of me. In the book.
Like I said, I love kids, and I'm definitely like a kids are the future kind of guy. And this is a inspiring thing.
I just found a piece called Jeff and His Friends.
Yeah,
There you go.
Shall I read it?
sure.
Once upon a time, there was a person named Jeff. His friend's name, excuse me, his friends' names were Jimmy, Rhino, Andy, Roman, and Matthew. One day, they were eating their lunches. Then they went to recess. They saw a bully. They gave the bully some Doritos. To be continued.
Cliffhanger. All right.
Just for you, Jeff.
And the lesson there, sometimes you have to give the bully like a Dorito or two.
Yeah.
It sucks, but this is just life.
Yeah. That sounds like it was born out of a tutor probably being like, hey, let's try something nonviolent.
Yeah.
We're always trying to like encourage like more creative
Correct, yeah.
forms of
I like
problem
that
solving when we can.
I'm gonna hope it's the kid's mind went to Doritos
Yeah.
for nonviolence.
Yeah.
That's if there's anything besides the Spark Social Sundays in April, any sort of like things that 826 is talking about for the future. I would say y'all have established roots.
Yeah.
You've expanded, and even though maybe the Tenderloin store isn't open and the Mission Bay needs some more engagement or whatever it is, y'all are like here and doing it. And
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's like a future vision.
I think for us, we're in the midst of a strategic planning as an org right now. So more to come, I guess. But I think the general theme, what we are really, as a staff, what I hear us talking about a lot is like, we have our 3 centers. We're pretty widespread as a staff, as an org. And so we're just trying to figure out how can we like deepen our engagement with our students. We definitely find that like for me, Buena Vista Horace Mann, which is a K-8 school in the Mission, is like a great example of like, we've worked with some of those kids from like 3rd through like, what is it, 6th or 7th, 6th grade now?
Up to 8.
Up to 8th grade.
Yeah.
So we're working with them for a long time, and like the longer you work with them, the more frequently and consistently, like our goal as an organization of building students' confidence in writing and encouraging them to tell their stories, like just exponentially increases the more you work with them. So
Awesome.
whatever we do, I think that's what our focus is going to be. Our goal is going to be is just like, how can we get that deeper engagement? And then I think also like trying to just take a look at our publishing and seeing what we can do more. I think we do a really good job of getting these books, they're very beautiful. You can't see them, listener, but they're very beautiful.
Yes.
And they're full of really awesome work. We spend a lot of time like keeping the work authentic to the students' vision, and like, a lot of that. I think there's better, for me as a stores person, I would say like we can do more in terms of like how we package it, how we get it out to people. So that's what I would like to do more of, just as a store person.
And then my team, it's quite rare, I think, for anyone working in volunteer engagement. It's usually not even a full official position in a lot of nonprofits. It's very unique that 826 has 4 people on my team. There's 4 of us. And part of that deepening engagement that Byron's talking about relates to us engaging alumni has been becoming tutors and becoming interns and becoming staff here.
Yeah, I mean, it's
because
been
we're
around long
20
enough
years
that they're
old.
adults.
We
Yeah.
have students. I have a
we're
couple people on my
seeing
team
that.
who are students.
Yeah, we're seeing that come back
For the listener,
full
my
circle.
brain is actually coming out of my head.
So the 20-year anniversary last year was a big deal to re-engage, celebrate I want to give a big shout out to our staff because, I mean, I joined 10 years ago where 12 people were doing a lot of work, and then we expanded, and now there's almost 50 of us doing a lot of work and working so hard behind the scenes. And I think people don't always realize how many humans it took to make just one of these books. We have a whole design team. We have our team in development and fundraising, and then of course every single program staff is just so focused on what is the curriculum going to be that deepens this, gives students access to this writing development, gives them the confidence, and then how do our staff members are also supporting the interns and the volunteers that help the magic happen, but there's a lot to balance in that process. So I'm always in awe of our amazing staff team here, and it's why I stay. I've been here 10 years in different capacities, but it's such a strong community of passionate people, and our students just get to do magical things. I think they come here not realizing what they're going to leave with, and that's what's really special. So my son in 3rd grade did the podcasting workshop with his SFUSD school. They just come for one visit at the Tenderloin Center, and in 3 hours they've written an idea. They've then gone and recorded it in a podcasting booth, and then our team is audio editing to put it out to the public. So everyone listening today can just go to SoundCloud and search 826 Valencia, and you'll hear thousands of San Francisco youth sharing what their favorite meal is or their immigration story. Like, there's such a wide range of what people want to share of themselves, and young people aren't really given that opportunity.
I was going to say, that's not exclusive to any age range.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
And they can do it in a way where, yes, they had to write, and they're speaking their own story. So the podcast really opened up another way of promoting students' voices getting amplified.
I want video of the reaction of them hearing it, then edited back, and like a finished project.
That's a good idea.
That would close the loop. We don't quite get to do that part because
the video's on our list to figure out still.
Well, they could probably listen to it, and they probably do on SoundCloud eventually.
Yeah.
So
Are we still compiling best ofs? We were doing that for a while too.
There definitely are some that I've noticed. I don't know if it's how recent it is, but
we'll get a link up for listeners.
Yeah. You can also walk by the Tenderloin, and we play it sometimes on speakers. It's like you walk by the sidewalk. Yeah, when the store was open, it was so fun because people would just be like walking, and it's interspliced with like aquatic sounds. So it'll be like bubbly ocean water, and then all of a sudden a kid will start telling their story, and like people will just be like, "What the?" like freaking out. Yeah,
young person's voice coming from.
Yes. Which is a common thing enough in San Francisco that I think it doesn't make it like super weird. Okay, well, thank you guys. I don't think I have anything else, but I also don't want to leave anything obvious out. We've got good places to end already, so if we need to end, we can end. But also, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Definitely check out our website. It has way more information. I know a lot of people might be parents who are listening, and it is hard to get into our writing programs because they're mostly full, or we're looking at families that most need the support for the tutoring programs, but you can tell your teachers to sign up to come on a field trip, especially public schools. That's our priority group. So I think we didn't mention that. A lot of people will ask, well, how do I get my kid into a writing program? And the website really explains the different ways you can get involved. If you're not a parent, then you can come be a tutor. You can donate to our work because we consistently need to support our programs to, what is it? Last year was over 5,000 students, but pre-pandemic we hit 9,000. I think this year we'll get closer to that 8,000 or 9,000.
And isn't our average tutor ratio like 1 to 3 or something?
Yeah, so
like I said, we're trying to get 1 to 1. So
3 students. It's tough. It's all school day commitment for folks who are working. But the other thing with the podcasting is if you have a team that you work with, right? We have folks that work at Google, work at Apple, all the big names, all the smaller companies too. They come for team building days, and you can volunteer with us as a team. So just get in touch. Think about that. It's super fun, super engaging. You get to see the Treehouse and King Carl's Emporium and the podcasting booths. And young people go from, what's a podcast? To, oh my gosh, I did that thing.
Totally.
I just did that. Yeah. It's really cool.
Well, this location specifically, second only to maybe, I don't know, the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm like, well, we don't have to plug the address. But how about what's the address of Tenderloin and Mission Bay?
Tenderloin
so folks
is
can know.
Yeah, sorry. Tenderloin is 180 Golden Gate Avenue. It's on the corner of Leavenworth and Golden Gate. And that they're like working. St. Anthony's is there too. They're another awesome organization. Would be great for this podcast, I think, too, actually. And that street, that block has been closed off, and they're working to get it permanently closed off. So like, it'll be a fun space to go, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then Mission Bay is, I think it's 1310 4th Street, but corner of 4th and China Basin. So a block up from Spark Social, you can get mini golf, you can get some food, and then you can come buy a gnome's best friend, or a walking, talking stick, or whatever.
I love the unicorn.
The unicorn. We got rid of unicorn recently.
You have a what?
We're not doing unicorns anymore. It's a sticky subject.
Oh, I didn't get the memo.
Well, here's the thing. Unicorns, in the way that we all conceptualize them, this is a little very inside baseball.
Let's do it.
Our team has had debates about this. If you're a unicorn, like, okay, as a human, sometimes you ever walk into a retail space and you're like, oh man, these mannequins don't look like humans at all. Like, whose body type is this?
Right.
So like, we started thinking about all the unicorn stuff in our space, and we started thinking about like, oh, do unicorns all look like this? Like, we don't want to like, I don't know what the phrase is.
Typecast?
Yeah, we want to like
stereotype.
And then it led to, as most of the store team debates lead to, Googling like realistic unicorns and getting lots of crazy pictures of like really
unicorn
furry
representation.
ones. Yeah, so
That's
you
what
know,
we're talking about.
this is the kind of heated debates we have on the stores team. We're still selling unicorn stuff. I don't want to.
I was like,
Don't
but
worry,
I need
guys.
a unicorn for a 4th birthday party. Where am I going to go?
Yeah. So that's, anyway, we just got rid of the big unicorn.
Oh, I understand. Okay. Phew.
That was Kavitha and Byron Weiss from 826 Valencia. We're taking a break next week, but stay tuned for a rerun in this space. We'll be back on March 28th with a brand new episode for you. Music for Storied San Francisco was produced, performed, and curated by Otis McDonald. Michelle Kilfeather does original photography for us. Aaron Lim of Bitch Talk Podcast is our contributing producer. And the show is produced and hosted by me, Jeff Hunt. Now in our 5th season, we have more than 200 episodes available on our website, storiedsf.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're able to, please rate and review the show. And drop us a line at storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay strong, weird, and healthy. And we'll see you next time on Storied San Francisco.
This podcast is a proud member of the BFF.FM podcast network. Learn more at podcasts.bff.fm.
BFF.FM, best frequencies forever.